I'm Mark Vacher, and it's a privilege to be your congregational lay leader here at Seminary. But it's an even greater privilege and a tremendous blessing to have been part of this church family for most of my adult life. When Pam and I moved to Modesto in 1973, 50 years ago, we planned to visit a number of churches to find the one that was right for us as a young married couple with plans to start a family. Our first stop, and as it turned out to be our only stop, was Centenary, which had been recommended to us by some friends. We arrived on what was Backpack Sunday, when the youth were to share their experiences from a week-long backpack trip in the High Sierras. Well, between the warm welcome that we received, the wonderful worship that we experienced, and the teenagers' testimonies that we heard, we knew right then and there that we had found our church home. Even back then, Seminary was a church for every generation. But in 1973, we were among the young'uns and not the oldsters that we are today. Before long, Don Nelson, the pastor, had asked several of us to start a 20-something fellowship group. We called it Sunshine Company. And out of that, as well as through other things like church softball and basketball, we built friendships with other young couples. And over time, those friendships deepened as we experienced life together, from the greatest joys to those deepest, darkest sorrows. Births, parenting, weddings, grandparenting, we experienced those things together. Illnesses, deaths, divorces, and other crises, we also experienced all of that together. And today, for many of us, those relationships that we forged as 20-somethings are as strong, if not even more so, for the 70-somethings that we have become today. You know, for Pam and me, Centenary not only is where we built those lifelong relationships, it's also where we deepened our relationship with the one who created us, who chose us, and who called us to be his. Over our many years here, we took classes and we taught classes. We worked with children and youth, and we worked with adults. We served and we were served. And over those years, we also experienced the seasons of life that churches go through. The ebb and flow and the ups and downs of everything from attendance and giving to the health of various ministries themselves. Through it all, God has always been faithful. And as we, his people, sought him and his will and his way, his church grew and prospered again. And that's no different today. God is still the same. Centenary is still his church. We are still his people. And he still has a good and perfect plan for us. If only we would do as the words on our altar say, seek first his kingdom. You know, when I look back on Pam and my 50 years at Centenary, I'm overwhelmed by the goodness and the grace that he has showered on this church and on us. I'm also so thankful for the people who came before us, the people that he inspired to start that first church in downtown Modesto 150 years ago, the people he inspired 60-some years ago to build by hand the beautiful sanctuary and some of the classroom buildings that we have. And I'm thankful for the people that he continues to inspire today to serve him and to share him in the church, in the neighborhood and community, and around the world. I'm convinced that God that same God who before the beginning of time set aside this piece of his earth for his special purpose, I'm convinced that that same God isn't done with his work here at Centenary or with us. So happy, happy, happy birthday, Centenary.